Voted for Biden back in 2020, and I seriously regret it.
In 2020, I voted for Joe Biden, and I now see that as a mistake.
I voted for Biden in 2020, and I definitely regret voting for him. I will not do it again.
Folks, the people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory. Growing
up, I thought that Democrats were for everybody, especially, like I said, specifically for Black people. And I kind of had that, I was programmed in a sense with that Democratic, savior type of situation. Going into, the 2020 election, I was all for Biden. That's who I voted for. I was like, okay, Biden's gonna have change. He's for everyone. And I was underneath the impression that he was going to do what he was going to say he was going to do and not, be lying. I just found out the hard way, unfortunately, that, Biden isn't who he says he is. And that it seems like Democrats, in a sense, they just want to keep us in the same spot, in the same place, more so dependent on them, dependent on the government. And I just feel like as a whole, we're just stagnant. Black people were kind of trapped in the vicious cycle of believing what Democrats tell us. And that's what I was for my whole entire life. I believed everything they told me. I believe they're going to make things better. And if you look at the track record of history, they really haven't. They haven't done anything for us, for anybody, really.
I started noticing that I made a huge mistake voting for Biden really just a couple of months after Biden took office. And it was a combination of a number of things. Part of it was just the handling of the pandemic. It was the handling of the economy. It's inflation. It's because I voted for someone who's essentially furthering Marxist ideas in our country that I regret voting for him. I mean, it really was a terrible choice. I'm inclined to think that there are still Democrats who believe in who believe in agency and autonomy of the individual. I think that, but I think a lot of the party has been taken over and appropriated by Marxists, and that's not a controversial thing to say. It just a person simply has to look at the policies. A person simply has to, read Paulo Freire or Herbert Marcuse and then see all of the academic papers coming out of ed schools that cite those two Marxist scholars.
So back in 2020, it was the first time I ever actually decided to vote, and I did vote for Joe Biden because of all the promises he had made. His main point was he's going to help the poor people, but and that the stimulus check, but we didn't get the full stimulus check that he had promised us. He didn't keep any of his promises. He's not helping the poor are getting poorer. I'm the poor, and I'm getting poorer, so I can barely afford to eat. Groceries are expensive. Gas is expensive. Like, how is gas $5 a gallon? Couch surf right now. I kind of stay with my boyfriend and his mom. My son lives with my parents. Like, I don't want my son to have like a homeless mom, but it seems like everyone's going to be homeless soon. Like, it's so scary where the world is going. And it makes me seem like, what kind of future do our kids have?
I used to be a Biden supporter. I'm definitely not a Biden supporter anymore. I was anti-Trump. I thought he was a horrible person. I found out completely false. I believed that he was racist, he was a sexist, womanizer, just all these terrible things, just from the news and media lying on him.
I feel like I had been lied to by the media, telling us Biden's the answer to all the country's problems. Like, that's what I saw him as when I voted for him. And they made Trump kind of the bad guy in the media. But things were a lot better when he was president.
I cannot see any reason why I would be voting Democrat in the next election. As far as looking at 2024, I'm hoping DeSantis runs, and he will have my vote. If Trump runs again and wins the primary, he will have my vote as well.
I would actually, I could see myself definitely voting for Trump if he were to run.
I won't be voting for Biden again. That's for sure.